Hello, magical people, and welcome to a weekly check-in. Today we're going to be doing it in 4 parts by the elements: earth, air, water, and fire. You're welcome to pick whichever symbol or whichever element resonates with you most for whatever reason. You can also pick 1, 2, 3, or 4. And also a note that these readings are always timeless, so I trust that they will find you at the moment that you need them. So we're going to be looking at a few things. We're going to be looking at your energy, the predominant energy around you, which could be a person, place, or thing, or situation or circumstance. And then we're going to take a look at the dynamic between those two energies. And then we'll also pull some cards for some advice from your guides. Some channel updates. Coming soon, I will be offering some private readings, and it will work like this. You'll email me your question or situation or circumstance that you'd like some clarity around. I will do a reading for you within a couple of days, and then I will send you a link to an unlisted YouTube video so you can watch it as many times as you like. So more details on that coming soon. I'm still working on the infrastructure of getting that all set up. Let's see. Also, please take what resonates and leave the rest, of course. And always be sure that you are following your own internal guidance. A note also regarding the sound on this video. It is very, very hot. I am in the Pacific Northwest and we are currently having a little bit of a heat wave. Usually I try to turn off any air conditioners or fans that might be running while I'm doing a reading, but that's just not going to be possible today. So I do apologize for the air conditioner going in the background. And I think that's just about it. So having said that, we're just going to dive right in, and we're going to go in this order. We're going to go earth, air, water, fire, and there will be timestamps in the description below. So having said that, let's just jump right in to reading 1, which is earth. And like I said, we're going to be taking a look at your energy, the energy that is predominantly around you, and the interplay between those two energies. So for group 1, for our earth folk, let's see what we've got. All right, so for your energy, we have the Child of Spells, the Keeper of Spells, and the Keeper of Challenges. Oof. That is some pretty powerful energy there, all members of the court cards. So the Child of Spells is also known as the Page of Wands. The Keeper of Spells is also known as the King of Wands, and then the Keeper of Challenges is known as the King of Swords. So for the energy around you, ooh, more court cards. We have the Queen of Challenges, or Weaver of Challenges, otherwise known as the Queen of Swords. Interesting. We have the 10 of Boons, which is also the 10 of Pentacles, and then we have the 8 of Visions, which is also known as the 8 of Cups. All right, and then for the interplay between those there's 2 energies. We have the Fool, the 7 of Pentacles, and the 10 of Wands. So what I'm seeing first off here is that your energy is trying to both be in a place where you are coming out of learning about something new. Like there's a childlike energy, there's a spirit of curiosity and wanting to discover within the realm of Wands, which is about our passions and our curiosities and things like that. So there's this real childlike energy of wanting to play, but basically of wanting to play with that Wands energy. But there's also these 2 kings showing up here. So this is the King of Swords and the King of Wands. And so there's a lot of masculine energy. And that's not necessarily, that has nothing to do with what your personal gender identity might be. This is just simply saying that with regards to the sword realm, which is air, logic, thinking, and the fire realm, which is wands, there is a lot of forward moving, there's a lot of dynamic energy here, there's a lot of action energy here. And so with the energy that's around you, and again, can be a person, place, or situation or circumstance, we've got the Queen of Swords, which, just to point out here, we have the, you put these two together, the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords, and this is a power couple. It really is. Like, there is very complementary energy here, and you put these two energies together, and they've got that sword stuff really locked down. So with this energy around you, it's like there's this spirit of truth. Oops, just dropped a card. There's a spirit of truth. There's a spirit of moving away from something that there's a spirit of moving away from something, doing some emotional healing and leaving behind what no longer serves you, and being willing to move into new circumstances, which of course is the Ten of Pentacles. So if this is a person, then I would say that maybe this is somebody who feels like they're bringing some sort of truth to the situation. It feels like they are maybe somebody who can help you clarify, or a situation that can help you clarify what it is that you want to move away from, and also what it is that you want to move towards. And so what's interesting here is with the dynamic between those two energies, we have the Seven of Pentacles. And Seven of Pentacles is all about practice and all about putting in the work. We also have the Fool, which is in this deck known as the White Heart. And so that is very nascent energy. It's very naively wanting to step into something new and kind of taking that leap of faith. But then also the Ten of Spells, which speaks of, that's the Ten of Wands energy, and that speaks of a lot of exhaustion. So I feel like the dynamic between these two energies here is that there's a lot of potential. The Fool is all about potential. All of the other cards in the deck exist within the Fool. And so there is, between these two energies, there's a spirit of, this could be something life-changing. It could be something that will be with you a long time, that you will continue to be putting in consistent work on. But it's also something that at this moment feels a little bit overwhelming, and it feels a little bit exhausting, which makes sense because we have a lot of dynamic masculine energy showing up as your energy, and then there's a lot of nurturing emotional energy as well as personal truths showing up within the predominant energy in your space. So it kind of makes sense. The dynamic between those two would be a little bit push-pull, like all of the possibilities are there, all of the potential is there, and yet it's not going to happen overnight, and there are going to be times where it feels a little overwhelming. So let's pull now a few cards. Actually, I'm going to use this deck. I'm going to pull some advice from your guides on the best way to navigate these energies and the dynamics between them. And we're going to pull some tarot cards as well as a round of oracle cards as advice from our guides. So what is going on here? What would be the best way forward for group one here, for the Earth folk, to go ahead and be in that place of willing to take the leap of faith and maybe managing that overwhelm a little bit better. So let's see what our guides have to say about that. And we've got the Nine of Pentacles, the Temperance card, and the Eight of Wands. Okay, so that, oh, and this one flew out. So, and that is the Seven of Wands. So Nine of Pentacles, this is all about being self-reliant, being self-sufficient. The Eight of Wands is about communication, and sometimes even quickly moving communication. And of course, the Temperance card is all about having the understanding that we already have all of the elements within our realm to temper the situation into something that's going to work. So your guides are telling you, hi cutie. Sorry, a little squirrel friend just kind of walked in and is helping herself to some peanuts. So here you go, buddy. Here you go. Anyways, so, The Temperance card reminds us that we have all of the tools available to us to shift things. So your guides are really saying that you already have all of the tools available to you, and that this is going to be an opportunity to step out and be unique and to feel like you are in a place where you are solidly able to defend. And I don't necessarily mean defend because somebody is attacking you, but I mean that place of knowing that where you are is solid higher ground, and that if necessary you can defend, you can see what's going on around you. It's standing in your own unique power. And so your guides are really telling you that, like, you already have all of the tools. Maybe with this Eight of Wands card, it might be an opportunity to have a little bit more awareness about the way you communicate with yourself, or even communicate with regards to this dynamic situation here. So also some oracle cards as guides, or from your guides. They'd like to ask you to remember to be vulnerable, which makes sense because, again, your energy showing up here is very masculine energy, which isn't to say that it's not in touch with its emotions, but it's definitely only secondarily or tertiarily in touch with the emotions. It's really more, your energy is currently speaking of being in a place of like driving forward and having like clear sighted vision about what you're moving towards. And so sometimes when we are blindly moving forward, or even not blindly moving forward, that can keep us from noticing situations around us. And this energy around you, like I said, it's all very nurturing. It's very emotional energy. It's energy that very much speaks to your personal truth and your heart space. And so your guides are inviting you, as you navigate this leaping into something new and kind of navigating the overwhelm that associates it, that, you know, being vulnerable is going to be a key to managing that energy better. In terms of animal oracle, we have the koala spirit. That animal has we have the koala spirit. That spirit has a plan. My goodness, I think perhaps I didn't have enough coffee this morning. And so, you know, again, this is like your guides just kind of showing up to tell you that, like, you've already got this. You already got the situation. We also have love showing up here. And then for the moon card, we have a new start is coming. So, you know, I feel like it's interesting that I chose to pick these two up at the same time. So, you know, it does make me wonder if the situation or circumstance that was showing up as the energy predominantly in your space is in fact another person, and a person with whom that you feel like you might be able to actually build a future, or perhaps are already in the process of building the future, and this is just going to be a new iteration or a new level of understanding and working together. And of course, while this can be romantic, it does not necessarily have to be. So I hope you found this helpful, group one. It seems as though things are going pretty good for you. You've got everything kind of ready, and even though it may feel like there's a lot of overwhelm, that is just the two energies kind of coming together and working together, again, just showing you opportunities of kind of like your guides, again, pointing to you to the fact that, you know, you do already have this Nine of Pentacles energy, like being self-reliant, having an understanding that even though energy is around us in our space, doesn't mean that we have to completely succumb to it. Like, we can, even when there's powerful dominant energy in our space, we can still stand on our own and use that energy to create situations and circumstances that we would want to have, because everything just always provides more clarity. So group one, I hope you found this helpful, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Please don't forget to be kind and gentle with yourself. And now we are going to move on to group two, which is going to be the air. And we're going to shuffle a couple of the decks here. Group 2, air folk. If you selected air as the element that you wanted a reading for, then this is in fact your reading. So again, we're going to look at your energy, the predominant energy around you, which can be a person, place, circumstance, situation. And then we're going to look at the dynamic energy between those two energies. And then we're also going to get some advice from our guides. So let's go ahead and start off. For your energy, air folk, we have the 6 of Challenges, otherwise known as the 6 of Swords, the 3 of Visions, otherwise known as the 3 of Cups, and the 7 of Challenges. So right off the bat, I feel like your energy is coming out of a place of like reclaiming your own power, learning how to get back in touch with being in community in a way that feels good and that feels celebratory, and also reclaiming your own power. So it seems as though maybe you air folk might be coming off somewhat of a difficult situation where there has been some emotional healing that has been required, and it could also be physical healing. But with the 6 of Challenges here, you know, this card often speaks of kind of waiting out a situation that we just can't win. Like, as you can see, this person, they have decided to hide up in a tree because there's just no way that they could take on those wolves. So there's a spirit of like finding safety in the moment while you wait for the danger to pass. So it seems as though you're coming off some difficult energy, but also just now getting into a place where you're recognizing that 3 of Cups, being in celebration with those in our community. So this could be family, this could be friends, you know, it could even be work people, but the whole point is that you are coming into a place of peopling and peopling joyfully. So the energy surrounding you, we have the 7 of Wands, the 7 of Visions, which is the 7 of Cups. We have the Forest Lord, which is otherwise known as the Emperor. And then we also have the 9 of Boons, which is the 9 of Pentacles. And so there's this energy of self-reliance, keeping your eyes open to possibilities that are coming towards you, and trying to make decisions that are going to be for your benefit and that will allow you to create more stability and have more like absolute awareness over your situation. You know, with the Emperor, this is all about kind of like building the foundations or building on foundations. It's very stable energy, but it's also very active energy. So it's a lot about boundaries. You know, so there's boundaries, there's self-reliance here, and then also being aware that options are available to us and kind of keeping our eyes open to that, and having an awareness that we have more than one option. So this is kind of moving out of, if this resonates for you, moving out of black and white thinking, which is sometimes a indication of trauma brain. So it's moving out of black and white thinking where something is either good or bad, or I can either do this or this, and instead recognizing that there's a whole bunch of gray in between those black and white parts of the spectrum. So for the dynamic between the two of you, or these two energies, we have the 8 of Visions. Oh, that showed up in the first deck, or the first reading as well. We have the 8 of Visions, otherwise known as the 8 of Cups. We also have the Child of Boons, which is known as the Page of Pentacles, and then the Ace of Visions, which is the Ace of Cups. So what I see is, as you're moving out of this difficult place and sort of like re-entering society, we're just going to say that, as you're re-entering society, this is, you know, it's an opportunity for you to gain some emotional understanding, or some understanding of your emotions, or possibly even a new emotional connection. Things are, however, moving slow, which is not necessarily a bad thing, especially when we're coming out of a place of deep hurt. It can be reassuring to move slow and methodically, and making sure that we are, you know, able to eat the whole house, basically. Eat that whole house made of candy, you know, just one bite at a time. And then with the 8 of Visions, this is again kind of recognizing that there have been hurts, and owning that and not turning away from it, acknowledging and integrating those hurts, but also being willing to search for something new. It's like an integration for the purpose of moving forward. So that's the dynamic between those two energies, is that there's a lot of possibility here. You know, there's some new stuff coming up. It's going to be slow, but it's going to be purposeful. And now let's get some advice from your guides. So let's see what the guides have to say about navigating these two energies and the dynamics between them. And so we have first the Four of Pentacles, the Nine of Swords, the Ten of Cups, interesting, and the World. Ooh. Pardon me. I'm also going to pull some oracle cards. We have the big picture. Oops. Hummingbird Spirit, be here now. Return of Spirit, I like it. And you and your loved ones are safe. So, okay. So what your guides are letting you know is that, especially as you are coming out of this place of integrating some painful experience, or moving out of a place of hurt, that while you may feel some anxiety, you may feel some attachment to that, instead what your guides are actually inviting you to acknowledge is that, well, this may be the way things feel, and that's okay for you to feel however you feel and to acknowledge your emotions and work through them. It is also true that you are moving towards your Ten of Cups, that there really is so much potential here to wrap up a major cycle of, which one? This one. Sorry, the things being backwards on my screen just continually baffle me. But yeah, so it's like this spirit of ending a major cycle, and moving more towards that place where you have more clarity over what you actually do want. And, you know, the be here now, I think that this is especially, if this is a situation where, you know, you do have some trauma brain from the past, and you've noticed that maybe slipping into that black and white thinking is something that you do pretty regularly, then the Hummingbird Spirit is reminding you to be here now, and that you and your loved ones are safe. When we are able to bring ourselves, detach from all of the anxiety and able to bring ourselves into the present moment, we often find that the present moment is fine. So even if I were sitting here right now having a lot of anxiety over putting this video out there, being seen by all of you folks who might someday watch this and like, oh my God, that's so terrifying. The reality is that I'm sitting in my dining room. There's no tigers trying to eat me right now. Everything is safe. I'm good. I have everything I need. So it's just a reminder that when we can bring ourselves present and we can have a better understanding of the bigger picture of these cycles that we go through in life, and yes, maybe we are moving out of a painful cycle, but we're also moving into a cycle where there's a lot of opportunity, and that is reminding us the return of spirit. And sometimes I see this card as a card of like spirit in terms of God, but I really feel like in this case that like you are coming back to yourself. You are coming back to yourself. This is a place of healing that you are moving into, and that is pretty amazing. And your guides have your back. So, you know, if you do meditate, if you do communicate with your guides, and you do find that you're having a hard time detaching from the current situation, or you're having sleepless nights because you have some anxiety, or maybe you're thinking, because the Nine of Swords is all about thinking, right? So this could be negative thought patterns, things that literally keep us up at night. If you find yourself in that place, then, you know, maybe do a meditation. There's plenty of guided meditations online for free. Check on the YouTubes. Check about maybe doing a guided meditation for the purpose of communicating with your guides, and as they can help you navigate this energy and fully let that cycle end, let that big painful cycle end, so that you can move into this place of all of this gorgeous new energy. So group 2 air folks, I hope you found this helpful. As always, please take what resonates and leave the rest, and don't forget to be kind and gentle with yourself, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Now we're going to shuffle again, shuffle again. Always dropping cards. Never fails. Whew. I am done with this hot weather, let me tell you. 75 to 80, that's about where I cap out. Maybe 85 if I'm near some sort of water that I can cool off in. But also water that's not too cold because I'm picky like that. All right, group 3, water folk. If you selected the element of water as your preferred element for the day, then this is in fact your reading. So what we're going to do again is we're going to look at your energy, we're going to look at the energy around you, and this can be a person, place, situation, or circumstance, and then we're going to look at the interplay between these two energies, and then pull some cards that are advice from our guides. Having the air conditioner going all the time does in fact make for a dry throat. All right, so let's get started, water babies, and see what we've got. So for your energy, we have the 8 of boons, the 5 of boons, and the tower. Ooh, oh goodness. All right, putting in the work, feeling like you are maybe not getting all of your needs met and that things are just falling apart outside of your control. The energy around you is the Weaver of Spells, the Keeper of Challenges, and the 2 of Challenges. And then the dynamic Child of Spells, that one came out earlier, the 5 of Spells, and the 2 of Boons. Okay, so let's start off with you. So we've got the 8 of Boons, the 5 of Boons, and the Folly, which is otherwise known as the Tower. So your energy is feeling like you've got a lot going on around you that's outside of your control, and it's making you feel like you can't get all of your needs met. And yet you're trying. You're still putting in the work. You're trying so hard. You are showing up consistently to do the work, and it just kind of feels like things are sort of falling apart. And that's pretty tough energy, I'm not gonna lie. I would like to say before I go any further though, that with the 5 of Boons, with the 5 of Pentacles, this isn't necessarily a card of your needs not being met because they are not able to be met. This is often a card of our needs not being met because we've got limited beliefs about how we can get our needs met, or that we even deserve to get our needs met. So even though it may feel like things are particularly chaotic for you right now, I just want to let you know that that doesn't mean you don't have agency. Even when it feels like things are falling apart outside of our ability to deal with them. Sorry, there's a squirrel friend that was probably just loud. I threw a peanut to her. Anyways, it feels like things are outside of our control. That doesn't mean that we don't have agency. Even when things are changing all around us, we always have choice. We always have agency. We always have a certain degree of autonomy. Now, for the energy around you, we've got the Queen of Wands and the King of Swords, and then the 2 of Challenges. So what's interesting is like these two energies are very, very different. So this is very non-emotional. This guy's got all the logic. He's got a very clear understanding of what he sees as the truth, and he is not terribly troubled by his passions or his emotions. The Queen of Wands, on the other hand, is very much a woman of passion, or a creature of passion, because it doesn't necessarily have to be a woman. These are just energies, not necessarily people. So there's this, and it makes sense that we've got these 2 of Challenges, we've got this 2 of Challenges coming up here, because it feels like maybe the energy around you is one of indecision, which would kind of make sense, because if it feels like there's a lot of chaos around you, then there might be some internal dialogue happening within you that is offering different advice, where one part is being like, you've got to follow your passions, you've got to show up, you've got to be willing to dance with the chaos, And then the other part is like, no, we need to have an understanding of the chaos so that we can control it. And where that kind of may leave things is like, all right, well, I don't really know what to do here. Like, I'm looking in a mirror, but the mirror is getting in the way of me seeing what's actually in front of me. So that sounds, you know, a little, sounds like there's a lot going on for you, group 3 water babies. And so with the dynamic between these 3, yeah, this all makes sense. There's a naivete, like, you want to play, but you're not really exactly sure what you're doing. And that, you know, there may be feelings of conflict. I suspect that, and you know, take what resonates and leave the rest, but I suspect that given the other cards that have come out, that any conflict that you're having is, well, it could be external. It seems as though it's also very likely that you're probably having some internal debate in how to get to a place where you can walk down your path with a certain degree of confidence and with a certain degree of balance, even knowing that there may be trolls under the bridge. So I feel like you're really trying to, like, the dynamic between these two energies is that you're really trying to get grounded after things have fallen apart, and you're trying to figure out a way to move forward, but you're not really entirely sure what you're doing, and you're second guessing yourself a lot. Like, second guessing yourself a lot. So let's see what your guides have to say about this. I mean, even if your guides don't say this, I'm going to say it for them, is that when we second guess ourselves a lot, that is an opportunity to have some very serious self-inquiry and see if we can get a conversation going between those two parts of ourselves that are in conflict, because one of them may not be up to date. One of them may be working on old information, and you know, it's just an opportunity to get a greater understanding of our own internal processes. So what your guides are saying: Knight of Pentacles, Knight of Swords. Oh, they're really asking you to make some effort. The Temperance and the Page of Cups. Wow. Okay. So your guides are saying, first and foremost, love yourself. Love yourself. Show up for yourself. Be your best friend. Especially when the shit is hitting the fan, it is really, really important, even when you're splattered with poo, to remember to love yourself and to give yourself what you need, which might just be a shower. Also, the Temperance card. So your guides are also wanting you to recognize that this Tower situation, this Five of Boons, you're putting in the work, and maybe it feels like things are a little out of your control. But the reality is that, like, these are all just teachings. They're teachings so that we can come to a place of healing. Like, this is the card of deep, deep healing. It's recognizing that we have all of the elements available to us to come to create something new. You know, there is very much an energy of morphing things. So taking the existing situations, taking that sort of tower situation, as the case may be, and recognizing that even though it's you know, chaotic and confusing and it feels like it's out of our control, the reality is that once the tower falls, we've got a whole bunch of building blocks that we can start creating new things with. Now, we also got two knights here. Okay, so knights are moving energy, okay? So, like, the Knight of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, this guy is very slow moving and very methodical. And this guy is very quick moving. And so what I feel like your guides are telling you here is that you have everything within your power to do the healing that needs to be done coming out of this situation and having all of this internal conflict, and that it might be a little bit stop and go, hurry up and wait, move forward, stall. So there's going to be a little bit of, like, it's not going to be smooth sailing. This healing process isn't going to be like snap and it's done. It is going to require work, which you're already in a place where you're putting in the work, where you're learning the skills. So you don't really need to worry about that. You're already there. But your guides are just reminding you to always show up for yourself, always make sure that you have your own back, and also to have patience with yourself as things do gallop forward and then come to a halt, and then gallop forward and then come to a halt. Having patience and kindness with yourself is going to be incredibly helpful. I'm also going to pull a few oracle cards just to finish this up. Conclusions. Ooh, that's a really pretty card. I don't know that I've ever actually pulled this one lately, and I've kind of forgotten what a gorgeous picture that is. So conclusions are within reach. So this situation of the tower falling, once the tower falls, it's done. And it's not pleasant, but it's done, and it gives us the tools that we need to move forward. So change of mind, and I feel like this is kind of harkening back to this energy that's around you and these energies. Like, it does feel as though there is a lot of mind changing going on. We also have that there's going to be a breakthrough coming. So again, having your own back, showing up for yourself, especially when things are hard, especially when it feels like we don't have a lot of stability internally, even in the way that we're thinking about things or the perspective that we're looking at things through. That can be really, really chaotic in and of itself, but you are at the cusp of a breakthrough. And last one here, Stag Spirit, take the lead. So I feel like your guides are not only, they're kind of like hearkening back to this, like taking the lead, moving yourself forward. So like when the tower falls, that's stuff that's out of our control. There's sometimes not anything that we can do anything about the situation itself, but what we can do is take the remnants and build something new, build something better. I mean, towers only fall because they have to. A tower that has a perfectly stable foundation that was built to code isn't gonna fall for no reason. So if a tower falls, it falls because it has to. So I hope that you found this helpful, Group 3. This is seeming like it's a bit of a chaotic time, but your guides are really showing up for you and letting you know that you've already got everything. You already got everything you need. It's just going to be a matter of shifting your perspective, and most importantly, having patience for yourself and continuing to show up for yourself with unconditional, absolute love all of the time. So take what resonates, leave the rest, and again, don't forget to be kind and gentle with yourself, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Now we're getting ready for reform. That anybody's watching anyways. I don't know why anybody would stay watching while I'm shuffling, staring off into space. But maybe you do. And if you did, then like, thanks, friend. Okay, Group 4, Fiery Friends. If you selected the element of fire today, then this in fact is going to be your reading. And we're going to look at a few things. We're going to look at your energy. We're going to look at the predominant energy around you, which could be a person, place, circumstance, or situation. We're going to look at the dynamic interplay between those two energies, and then we're going to pull some cards with some advice from your guides. So, let's go ahead and get started with that. Alright, so for your energy, we have the Fool, the Nine of Spells, and the Child of Spells. This is showing up in three of the other readings. Let's do Page of Wands energy today. For the energy around you, we have the Nine of Challenges, the Weaver of Spells. Oh, she showed up before too. And then the Eight of Challenges. Okay. And then for the interplay between them, we have the Seeker of Spells, the Fairy Wind, which is known as the Chariot, and the Five of Spells. Okay, so let's start off with you. So you are currently in a place where you are leaping into something new, allowing yourself to play with a new project, passion, or idea, but also maybe feeling like you need to have your defenses in place, or maybe that's just a perception. So you're you know what? Imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is the word that's coming to me. So like you're in a place where you have just leapt into something new. You are feeling pretty good about it, and you are feeling like a childlike excitement and a desire to learn more and experience what there is to be experienced. But you're also kind of feeling like you're not really sure what you're doing, and that there's like imposter syndrome, I guess, really kind of says it all. So now for the energy around you, we've got the Queen of Wands, the Eight of Swords, and the Nine of Swords. So the energy around you is maybe even poking on that imposter syndrome a little bit, because I feel like with the Nine of Swords, that's all about having anxieties. Real or not, it's all about anxieties. So the Nine of Swords doesn't speak to whether there's a legitimate, valid reason for those anxieties. All it says is that they're there, that there is some mental processes, some thoughts that are happening that are causing some anxiety and some fear. And with the Eight of Swords, there's also, again, a bit of a self-limiting belief here, because there is this idea that you can't see what's going on and that you can't safely move in any direction because you don't have any clarity. But then there's also this Weaver of Spells here that's showing up, and she wants to dance with the fire. She wants to play with the fire. So there's, it's feeling like the energy around you is that, like, yeah, on the one hand, you're very excited about this new endeavor or this new project or passion or idea or situation, inspiration. You're excited about it, and there's a lot of awesome energy around it that is like moving you forward and keeping you engaged. But you've also got a lot of anxiety, and you've also got a lack of clarity, or a perceived lack of clarity. Now, with the dynamic between those three, we've got the Five of Spells, which can either show up as rivalry or conflict, or just maybe even not being on the same page internally with ourselves. We also have the Seeker of Spells, which is the Knight of Wands. So, it's very much like wanting to dynamically move forward, because we also have the Chariot here. So, like, there is this desire of, like, I'm just realizing how much spells there is here. So we've got fire, 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 air, air, fire, fire, fire. So yeah, there's a lot of inspiration here. There's a lot of passion. There's a lot of interest and excitement, and like wanting to become a master. Like the Knight isn't yet the queen or the king, but the Knight is moving forward. The Knight is still learning, but has already gained a lot of knowledge. Like the Five of Spells, this is kind of like, it can show up as competition. It can show up as rivalry. It can even show up as rivalry internally, like with our sense of self. So I kind of feel like with this case, it might be that, like, the interplay between these two dynamics is that you are moving forward. You did just, you've got this Fool energy. You did just take a leap. There is moving forward for you. What's interesting is that, like, this card also speaks to moving forward with clarity. So even though your perception might be that imposter syndrome and the I don't know and I'm anxious and I'm not sure what's going to happen, there is actually a lot more clarity here than you're giving yourself credit for. So let's see what your guides have to say about this, and see if they can offer some advice on how to handle all of this new energy that may be overwhelming and maybe touching on some stuff for you. Because, like, here's the thing too, is that, like, when we step into something new, life, it never ceases to offer opportunities to heal. So when we step into something new, often what we find is that, like, it's like, I'm stepping into something new, and then suddenly you are attacked by all of these little things that trigger you, because stepping into something new, doing something different, it's bold, and it requires courage, and it requires being willing to show up. And if we have anything that's unresolved in our past, and small or large, most of us do, then being in that place of stepping into something new and being open can push on vulnerabilities that if we haven't pushed on them recently, we might not even realize that they're there. So, concrete example, say you want to be a singer, and you perform, like you people have heard you sing, but it's never been anything formal, like, chorus in high school or college or whatever, but you've never been on a stage in front of a big crowd. So, like, even though you are familiar with it, you're stepping into something new, and that can create a lot of fear, performance anxiety, afraid that people are going to judge you or that people aren't going to like it. So even though you're doing something new, or doing something that is not actually new to you, because you're moving it into a new realm, that can touch on insecurities that maybe you weren't even fully aware of before. So, advice from our guides. We've got the 10 of Wands. Oh, we've got the Chariot again. And the 8 of Pentacles and the Empress. Oh, I love this. I really, really love this energy. So, like, yeah, your guides are saying, sure, you might feel overwhelmed by this. You might. It is a lot, and it's going to require, whenever we show up in a new space, it does require us to continuing to put in the work, which also means that we need to periodically reassess and check back in. But also, you've got this Empress energy. No, these ones. You've got this Empress energy, and you've got this Chariot energy. So there's like, your guides are inviting you to recognize that you are moving forward, that you have stepped into a new space, and they are encouraging you to treat the situation with the clarity of the Empress. And the clarity of the Empress is that she shows up and nurtures. She doesn't really ask why. It's just in her nature to nurture. And as a result, there's a massive amount of abundance that shows up around her. She is one of those figures that, like, simply walking through a field, each step, as she walks away, there's just new growth that pops up, because it's that nurturing is so much a part of her being that it just spills out into the world around her without her really consciously having to do anything. And so your guides are asking you to acknowledge that, like, as you've stepped into this new space, it has created a lot of abundance, and it will continue to create a lot of abundance as you continue to move yourself forward. And that even though that will periodically lead to feeling overwhelmed, you already have all of the tools and all of the skills to handle that overwhelm, so that you can then what's the word I'm looking for? Oh gosh dang it. Restabilize. That's not the word I'm looking for, but like restabilize, re-regulate. That's the word I want. So, like, as you're moving into the space and things are becoming triggered, and you're trying to stay brave and you're trying to stay vulnerable, this is just showing us opportunities that we can learn how to better re-regulate ourselves. So finally, we'll pull some oracle cards. Your dreams need a practical plan. So yeah, like, stepping into something new doesn't mean that you don't have to keep showing up and putting in the work, right? We also have the knowledge. Knowledge is power. So, again, acknowledging that we know more than we think we do, just sort of like the Empress nurtures more than she thinks she does. It's just part of her nature. And then we also have grasshopper spirit, taking a leap of faith. Again, just reiterating that, like, you are in that space, intuition. Trusting your intuition, staying in that space, reaching towards knowledge, which with the Child of Spells, like, this is a student energy too, and so, like, your guides are already in. The universe is already providing you with the things that you need to support you in this moment. So I hope you found this helpful, Group 4. As always, take what resonates, leave the rest. Don't forget to be kind and gentle with yourself, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye bye.